believe too, silvers only work on Ganon as we are underway.
No, silvers work like normal. You just have
Okay.
to find them first, and they cost 50 rupees a shot.
Yeah, it's basically if Zelda 1 and Link to the Past came together and made a randomizer.
So because keys cost like 100 rupees and arrows are going to cost rupees as well, everyone seems to be starting with a hula hand. This is pretty normal for retro.
Yeah, those 225 rupees really count as I did miss a map check which had Desert Palace as a 5/6 crystal and Eastern Palace as a pendant.
So we see everybody starting from Sanctuary and immediately going over to the Fairy Cave to the east to do a hula hand start. You get 225 rupees right away. So in a normal retro seed, you only end up buying like 3 keys or so, but you never know when you're going to find those key shops. So it's really nice to be prepared to buy them right away. Early flippers from Link's house.
Nice early pickup there.
We see some of our runners immediately going for Hobo, and GFE and Etienne going up to Uncle Drop, while Goomba is headed over to Kakariko. So lots of divergence already. Oh, Walter's not going to Hobo? Oh, he's checking entrances, right. So one of the changes in Retro is take any caves. So any single entrance cave that doesn't have an item location already can be a take any cave, where the runner will be given a choice between a blue potion and a heart container. And one of the caves will also just be a sword, just a free sword, which can be required by logic.
Yeah, it's based on the take any you want rooms from Zelda 1.
Take any caves are it's really hard to justify going into every single entrance that you see in our retro race, because if the sword ends up not being required from the Take Any Cave, it does cost a lot of time to go into all those entrances. It's like 20 rupees on the library. There is no master key in retro mode, unfortunately. That would be really nice, though.
Yeah, the boss keys still remains the same.
20 rupees on the race game as well. No reason to get that. And we have our first key shop here in Kakariko. Goomba buying the arrows right away, but opting not to buy the key. Makes sense, seeing so he needs that money for Bottle Merchant.
There were 20 rooms in the back of the tavern.
Walter doing the bomb mini moldarms.
Those are fun.
Yeah, not the easiest thing to do in the world.
But it's always nice to get knock out 2 Moldorms in one go. Here's one of the keys that we've mentioned before. And there's Blue Meal on the NPC, a shield, and some extra bombs.
We did get a glove there in Chicken House. GFE spending the 100 rupees and getting that extra key right away.
Goomba also picked up the Moon Pearl off of the bottle vendor, as well as a shovel for Edium inside Blind's Hut.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to need extra keys, so it does make a lot of sense to buy a key if you can afford it every time you find a key shop.
So with Edium's shovel, that puts 1 extra check once he's done with Kakariko.
Sawshore ended up not being all that profitable for Walter.
Looks like Goomba picked up a bow.
House before. Yeah, there is a bow in the well, I think. I thought Walter would go to Hobo, but I didn't realize he hadn't picked up his flippers.
There's that bow over on the well. That's really nice to find early on.
So Walter's going to be a little disappointed if later it turns out that the single entrances he wasn't able to get during the South Shore route so early have a sword. The general plan with single entrances is to check the ones that you're walking right by instead of like just doing every single one. But early flippers definitely spells trouble because money is just a little bit tight here at the beginning of the game. And everyone, even already having done the Houlihan, is not even close to being able to afford Sora's item. We might end up seeing like an early Agina check just to get access to that 50 rupee cave. Walter not buying the key.
So yeah, I think one thing you forgot to mention too is that you have to buy your arrows. Like it's kind of weird though. Normally you would have arrows right at the gate, but no, not in this game. You have to actually buy your arrows wherever they are.
Those bombos up on Lumberjack that may end up being required.
Oh, that's always kind of cruel to see that there, but it's only a 33% chance that one of those dungeons will have that bombos which is required.
So it does cost money to shoot the bow. It's 10 arrows to shoot regular arrows and 10 rupees to shoot regular arrows and 50 rupees to shoot silver arrows.
Putting things into perspective, if you're doing an almost quick kill, for instance, it would be 180 rupees in total if you're going to go for that quick kill. So if you find out the information that bombos is on Lumberjack, we won't know until we have the Titan's mitts and maybe the flutes. If we find out those are actually required. And
Having that
some way to get over to
information
East
really
Death
early
Mountain.
is very helpful, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see Etienne going over to the Agina cave. I think he will get rupees from the rupee cave, though. Awesome. But how much rupees, Etienne? Are you going to go all the way to 500? So this is a pretty reasonable play to farm rupees right here in the rupee cave, because even if you end up not needing Zora's item later, like having extra rupees to buy more keys can always be very helpful. But it is a pretty significant time seek to go into this cave over and over again for rupees.
I mean, the name of the game here in retro mode is rupees. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with Etienne going for that if he decides to, I don't know, farm for Zora money or something equivalent.
Guma goes to Agina's cave as well, but he did not choose to go into the rupee cave. Just a piece of heart in Agina. Honestly, very surprised we have not seen a back of escape check yet. Typically in open mode, like I like to go to back of escape like the very first time I save and quit with gloves.
If I'm not mistaken, we did get a back of escape check. I believe
Okay.
it didn't have anything in fourth, though.
Well, Walter's doing it now either way.
Yeah, I
must
might have missed it. Yeah. One of the ones had the 10 bomb pack that the uncle would give you normally in standard mode.
Walter maxing out his rupees at 999. Although in rando the max is 9999 instead. Etienne is swimming over to the Zora area. This is weird, the direction he's coming from. It is a bit faster to go from Link's house into Lake Hylia and take the whirlpool.
Yeah, this is typically you would do that if you're going for catfish, but we're in the light world after all, so we're taking essentially the vanilla route, well, technically speaking.
And Goomba getting his first bottle there on Hobo. A little unfortunate that nobody decided to go to Hobo first. We could have done that sick kid check on our first time in Kakariko.
Yeah, there's those Titans mints, so that's Dark World access for Adium. Walter pulling the trigger on the front of escape play.
Yeah, so to fire the bow, the runners will have to pay money every single arrow shot, and they don't actually have arrows to shoot until they spend 80 rupees at a shop. There is a bug that allows them to shoot arrows without having bought that, but if they find silvers, then they're not able to switch to regular arrows until they've bought it.
And Adium getting a a bottle which has red potions in it, but he saves it. He's gonna save scum that, so.
He'll get another one here at Hobo, though. It was Bombos on the Lumberjack, to answer your chat real quick. So
Yeah.
maybe needed?
Yeah, it's still up in the air in terms of or not. It's a 33% chance for both dungeons to have bombos there, so yeah, it looks like Walter's setting up for a death floor before he leaves, which makes sense once he checks Zelda's chest.
And before Clutch Full Heal. Aww.
At least get some bombs back, so there's that.
So even though Etienne does have Dark World access right now, as well as Goomba, I would still expect the runners to at least think about going over to Eastern. It is a pendant, but you got that bow. Going to the Dark World without a hammer can be very uncomfortable.
Meanwhile, Walter's waiting through the dark to get over to Darkcross.
Well, we assume he is.
He went.
I can't see anything.
Sewers. Yeah, he went into the sewers. Goomba pulling the trigger, grabbing that key off of Zora ledge.
Well, they're headed over to the dig spot. Maybe something good. Or we probably already saw it and I missed it.
Yeah, we did see it before. I
Gotcha.
believe it was nothing.
Still
20
no
rubes.
any caves that we found. Well, there's our first take any cave from Goomba. Easy decision there, picking up the heart container.
So GFE now grabs his Titans mitts. Walter might be the last one to be going for those Titans mitts once he makes his way down over to that Zora area.
Not a big deal though. Everybody's pretty much doing all the same checks here in the beginning, just in a slightly different order. Sick Kid did have nothing after all.
Yeah, 20 rupees.
GFE is orphaning Zora and not grabbing the key on the ledge. I don't blame him.
Idiom going for the back of escape play for him. He's gonna grab those 10 bombs and other kind of pointless things.
So you can see like the routing that each player decided to take through the beginning of the game really didn't have that much of an impact. Everyone pretty much did all the same checks.
Yeah, Goomba now making their way into the Dark World. We have a map check. We have a pendant on Meyer and a 5/6 crystal. Over on Ice Palace, there was another pendant. I don't believe I
green
caught
pendant
that. Pod. Oh great! It's gonna be like yesterday's state all over again.
Yeah, so both of the bow lock dungeons are pendants, which mean the bow could be in Yin and Tower, except that we already got the bow, so nothing to worry about there.
So as far as we're concerned, we need to just figure out what Turtle Rock is once we have that hammer in hand, or come up from. Oh, that's not a that's a pretty bad spot for those Gyptos over on Goomba's side.
Goomba's trying to do front of Skullwoods here, but the Gyptos are being very unfriendly. He makes it through though without dying, and gets a mirror for his trouble. Not bad.
Nice pickup.
So while doing front of Skullwoods without the fire rod really isn't like a weird play or anything, like a lot of players will choose to do this. It is also a common play to skip it and wait for that fire rod, as you can see I'm doing now.
And that's a general thing that I'd like to do, is wait for the fire rod, then when I have the fire rod full clearance.
Yeah, the danger there is when fire rod is just in Skullwoods.
There's those 20 rupees. That signals the last of those of the required one of the items here. But actually, there was 3. Oh right, this is. I'm still thinking it's this is just regular old open world. But we get a Book of Medora off of Eastern Palace.
Yeah, so Walter makes the early Eastern dip, like I would thought maybe at least one of our runners would do, and he gets a book for his trouble. Now the book could be required, but it might also just be absolutely nothing. I'm sure Walter is hoping to find something a little more concrete.
And with that, actually, when that would put the Bombos tablet and Ether tablet into logic, as well as the them being able to read the ped whenever they decide to, if they really want to route that in along with their Skull Woods checks when they are full clearing it, they can do that too, or they can do it after when they clear Mothula.
So you might have noticed GFE, even though he didn't need to, decided to go into the pinball room in Skullwoods to get the key and then take a Wallmaster ride back to the front. So he's doing this just to get that extra key. One more key he won't have to buy in this run.
Fortunately for GFE, he takes another Wallmaster ride, and he's got to do this whole room all over again.
Yeah, kind of a tricky room to do without any like reliable weapon for sure.
This is the room where I tend to die a lot if back in the day.
I don't think he'll feel too bad though when he finds progression here.
Yeah, GFE picks up that mirror. Gooba now making their way over into Thieves Town.
So not much to be had there in the front of Thieves Town or Kakariko. The main difference makers right now being that book that Walther got in Eastern and the mirror that Etienne and Goomba got in Skull Woods. It looks like Walther will opt to finish Eastern. I'm not sure if there was an item on the boss, but he's going to do it either way.
So Eddie, I'm also doing the digging game.
So you can see Etienne, he was, even after he found the item in the digging game, he kept digging. And he did this because he wants more rupees. You can never have enough rupees in Retro.
Yeah, that's also true, and he's actually taking that.
He finds
and,
the Take
there's
Any
a Take
sword.
Any, that's for one of our first swords.
Yeah, so there's only one Take Any cave that has a sword like that, and Etienne is our first runner to find it. Potentially a very big difference maker, depending on how deep in the sea the rest of our swords will be. Another key shop find for GFE.
Walter enters the Armos fight. Okay.
Walter does bottom right strats for Armos. It's a little slower than like top right, but it's still pretty quick compared to like the vanilla way of just shooting arrows randomly and hoping for the best that you might see a new runner do.
Yeah, so he picks up that blue pendant. Eddie are making their way over to Hive Cave with the heart piece. There's another sword. And a magic powder, along with another key.
And Gooba also picks up the Take Any sword. Good for him. GFE, you're wishing he had a sword right about now. So yeah, assuming Walther was counting items in Eastern, he would have known that Armos did not have an item. So he basically did a bunch of dark rooms and like 3 rooms with Igors just to get a pendant, which can pay off, absolutely, if that ends up being required.
Yep, while they're actually going into the front way of Desert Palace, taking that mission.
Yeah, Walther really wants to turn this dip into Pendant Eastern into more progression, so he's absolutely going to follow that bow to right now.
Because he has keys in the bank, he's gonna go over to the right side first.
Now, if he found something like Flute over here, that would be pretty huge, because it would mean that everybody has to go into Eastern.
There's red mail over on K45. GFP actually looks like he found the Sank card over on the front of Escape. And lo and behold, this battle is not boost locked.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is still fire locked, so Walther will need to get lucky to finish the dungeon.
Yeah, there's another key there, but it's boots locked. But and Bombos requires the boots. We did know this since it's a lumberjack that's on lumberjack ledge.
Yeah, so normally when you see a key on the torch in Desert, it means that the boss of Desert will be boots locked, but because this is retro mode and the game just assumes you always have enough keys, it's not boots locked, it's just an extra key. Quake medallion on purple chest.
Oh boy. Meanwhile, Edium is going into pod.
Yeah, early pod play makes a lot of sense with the bow, because unlike Eastern, a lot more of pod would be considered bow lock. Although in retro mode, it's only the right side of the boss. It can't be the back because you always have enough keys according to the logic.
And if you have some cash underwater, not really descriptive of where it is, but it's kind of a pointless hit either way.
So unfortunately for Walther, the book only led to him double dipping Desert. But there might still be something on the tablet later. Unique item in Spiral Cave that none of our runners can get to quite yet. Alright, let's see if the bow lock side of pod leads to anything. We got a piece of heart. And some rupees. So this is pretty unfortunate for Etienne because, like, him having the bow is the main reason he came over to pod. So for 2 of the bow lock locations to have nothing means that he really needs there just to be something over here not bow locked as well. Still, not an unusual play to go into pod at all. I think a lot of runners might choose to do that. Looks like GFB agrees. He's definitely going over to pod as well.
Yeah, it makes sense for him since it's early. And what do you know? There's vanilla bit key. And oh boy, that's big. That's a hammer.
It was hammer and pod.
Yeah.
Thanks,
French
game.
vanilla. French vanilla hammer. Oh boy.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for them to go into pod because like they have the bow and it's probably one of the most item dense locations they can get to. GFE finds a take any cave, but instinctively just leaves. He walks back in and grabs that heart container. I do expect the runners who have already found the take any sword not to be dipping single entrances anymore. Heart containers are much less valuable. Right. So in retro mode, just like how bombs and rupees work in the in open and standard mode, keys are considered to be infinite in retro. So as far like key logic goes, you're always assumed to have enough keys to open every key door. So the only bow lock chests in Palace of Darkness are the actual bow lock chests.
Yeah, it's always assumed that you have enough keys to do it regardless of what you have. And besides, you have a lot of keys, options to get keys anyway.
So Walther, after finishing his diversions, has made it over to Waterfall Ferry and gotten his own Titansmiths and thus Dark World access. I think we're likely to see a hammer jump out of Etium here.
Yeah, Eddie, I'm setting up for that hammer jump right now.
This isn't so much for the time save, it's just to save a key. Although, in my opinion, doing the Dark Maze backwards is a little awkward.
And to answer a question, know that the keys are not shoveled among the dungeon items. Since keys are considered infinite, technically speaking, the keys are in the item pool. It's kind of like a key sanity, but again, since they're not part of any particular dungeon in particular, it's assumed that it's a key is just any key that would be considered that just be any key for any key door. However, the big keys still apply in terms of dungeon items.
Yeah, so what this means is that for each dungeon, however many small keys you would normally pick up there in chests, it will have that many more dungeon items or like item locations to that could have possibly a progression. So in a dungeon like Palace of Darkness that has 6 keys in chests, that means it has 6 extra item locations, making this a very dense place to go. Where like Eastern Palace, which had no keys, is exactly the same as it always is. GFP picking up this hammer. Yeah.
I was gonna say that, but whatever. Goomba making their way over to the pyramid ledge. Or wait.
He's going into Aga Tower. So Aga Tower, just like in Key Sanity mode, it has 2 chests that normally have small keys, but because they're not small keys for sure, this is 2 items that he can get.
Now, again, this is all hinges on the possibility. He might also want to decide to clear it if he really wants to go and get the lamp or something equivalent to that.
Yeah, kind of an early play into Aga Tower. This maze dark room is kind of a big pain without the fire rod or lamp.
For Goomba, this might be a required double dip in case we find out that Bombos is required for Turtle Rock, and looks like that's a red boomerang over on Goomba's side.
Yeah, the two chests in Agatower though are like really early, so it's not like a huge difference maker. So it's starting to look like left side swamp might be the play. I think we'll probably see like a sequence break up the mountain though before players do that.
Yeah, it makes sense since they are able to go. Since when once Goomba grabs his hammer, I mean GFE can Idiom can do it already, but once they decide if they want to go for the sequence break into Death Mountain, they can get into East Death Mountain too. In fact, the only thing they can't really get access to at the moment is the rest of Hookshot Cave. Or not even just that, just Hookshot Cave at all.
Yeah, the mountain is even without Hookshot Cave is still like the most dense place they could possibly go right now. Other options they have is like to finish up Thieves Town, which I don't think anybody chose to do without the hammer.
No, they went for the 4 chests and that's it.
Yeah, without a weapon to finish the fight, it makes a lot of sense only to do the first 4. But outside of that, I think left side swamp is like the only other thing they could possibly do. In logic, anyway. For GFE. This is a bit simpler with a sword, but he makes it work with the hammer.
Yeah.
Well, the main reason no one's gone to East Death Mountain yet is because GFE and Etium only very recently got that hammer. So until then, they were only able to go up to Hera.
So GFE is actually going to be trying to, probably banking on the fact that Sahasrara might have some progression here. So he's clearing Pod.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for him to do this, because the other 2 Bowlock locations in Palace of Darkness were, nothing. The boss is just 1 more Bowlock. Although it is an out-of-logic Bowlock without a lamp.
Yeah. So, and he actually saved some rupees here by not shooting at the... by using the hammer on that mimic. And in the process also using that boomerang to hit the switch.
So Walter did decide to go to the back and get that mirror. Good on him. Hopefully Etium does the same as well. So it does feel right now like Walter is probably behind. But with the book in hand, there may very well be something on one of those tablets. Nobody wants to go to Eastern if they can help it.
It's also likely that if there's something on the ped too, which might have a whole bunch of items, might bring some progression in there. It's still pretty early in the game. We have not seen any of the Ruds. We have not seen the King of Samaria.
GFE is doing this turtle room with hammer only. This is incredibly difficult. The blue mail helps a lot with the damage you take from these turtles that you can't see. But it is very difficult to knock over a turtle that you can't see and then hit it with that hammer without accidentally knocking it back.
Yeah, it's essentially a game of Mario Brothers if you just have a hammer and you're completely blind.
Goomba's going to have a little easier time with the sword, but it's still a very difficult dark room. And GFE did it. Got them all with just the hammer.
Nicely done.
Goomba, though, even though he got to the dark room later, finished it first with that sword and is fighting Helmasaur.
And in fact, both runners are actually doing that now.
Goomba getting a little bodied by Helmasaur here. It's actually really challenging to hit him with the hammer, but it is the best way to kill him. And we got synced kills.
Nicely done from Goomba and GFE. Both rewarded with a single rupee and
a green pendant.
And now the green pendant.
I'm curious if they'll decide to go into Eastern. I would not blame either one of them for choosing not to. But you are right here. You have the mirror. Alright, GFE is going into Eastern Palace. He'll get his book as well. Share Walter's pain, as it were. Alright, check your take any, Walter. There you go.
So it's GFE's book. So as someone points out in chat, the only things that the pet can only have is Fire Rod, is both rods, Hookshot, and whatever the medallion is for Total Rock. It provided that Bombos is not on Total Rock.
So you're saying pet is absolutely required?
Not really. I'm not really saying it's absolutely required. It's still it's possible.
Have faith. Have faith, Renderer.
I don't know. Yeah, but
I believe in the pedestal. Do you not believe in the pedestal?
I mean, it's nice. It's sometimes a Petsy is nice for the chat, but
I wish Walter had done the check. He did have the book in the mirror. He just said, no, I'll do it later. Etienne going to the back of Thieves Town, our first player to do so. Makes a lot of sense to wait until you have the hammer for this play. He'll be able to get whatever's in that big chest.
Yeah, again, yeah, I like this play from Etienne.
And Walter is making his way over to turn in the purple chest and get his Quake Medallion. And he will be the first runner to be able to get the Bombos tablet and find out if that book was worth it. Goomba opting not to go into Eastern Palace. Going straight for that green pendant turn in. For a key. All right, and we get to check out this big chest. Is it worth? It was so worth!
Oh man, that is a hook shot. That now eliminates, so only things left on the pad is Fire Rod, odds, and whatever Turtle Rock medallion is, presuming that Bombos is not on Turtle Rock.
Yeah, big play from Etienne going to Thieves Town instead of sequence breaking up the mountain.
A whole lot of runners might not go back into Thieves Town until it's too late.
Yeah, it's a crystal dungeon, so everyone will go back there eventually. But it is
right,
a little out of the way for sure.
Goomba now sequence breaks up into Death Mountain. This makes sense for him.
Yeah, unfortunately he won't be able to grab Hookshot Cave while he's here.
So with that, Eddie grabs the first crystal at pretty much 46 minutes in.
So just like Walter, GFE is doing the Armos fight even though it cannot have an item. Really banking on that head being required, I think. Oh, I missed the Bombos tablet check. I don't see chat yelling at me, so I assume it was nothing. Heart container, okay. So to answer chat real quick, yeah, nobody did the back of the sound primarily because they didn't have a weapon to kill blind, but not having the hammer either plays a big part in that because it's an item location you'd be forced to orphan even if you could kill the boss.
Normally people would skip out on this 20 rupee grab, but since this is retro mode and we have to require money in order to shoot arrows, that's why he's picking this up here. Goomba taking the plunge into Hera.
Nice purple chest hint. And
Yep,
the king was Maria.
Like, oh man. Unfortunately, the rest is fire locked, but with that can of Samaria in hand, that is really nice.
Walter doing left side swamp. This is really unfortunate that he did this instead of a pod and then Thieves Town. But it is very likely for the progression in this dungeon right now. Unfortunately, it might just be in the back.
GFE finally getting his sword out of Hype Cave.
Yeah, GFE was the only one of our runners not to find the Take Any Cave that had the sword.
Or, as I like to put it, it's dangerous to go alone cave.
It's kind of wordy, though.
Eh. It's true, though.
Yeah. Oh, Goomba getting his unique item in Spiral Cave, and it is the boots.
Nice pickup from Goomba.
At this point in time, though, I really feel like Etienne kind of has the edge, getting that hook shot early. Walter's going to end up double dipping Swamp Palace. Goomba's going to have to come back later for Hookshot Cave, but Etienne, having the hookshot already, won't have to do either of those things. In fact, I imagine Etienne's probably going to go straight into Swamp after turning in the purple chest and checking Bombo's tablet. Well, he won't check Bombo's tablet, but... No book. Ice Rod and Paradox Cave, though.
So that at this point, the ped is only let into Fire Rod and whatever medallion is on Turtle Rock, assuming it's not Bombos.
GFE finds the Take Any Cave and walks out right away.
Oh my!
Oh wait, I do want the Master Sword. That's right. That's good. Okay, let's go.
Ear Shield and Tempered Sword inside Paradox Cave.
Everyone's so prepared for every single entrance to be nothing. They're already holding down as they enter.
Yeah, it makes sense again.
And Etienne is going straight into Swamp. Makes a lot of sense. I think Walter opted not to do left side Swamp when he was in there before. Maybe only checking the first couple chests. The butter sword and super bunny. Swords, not an issue this seed.
Yeah, much like last week's, or much like yesterday's seed.
All right, Walter didn't have the hammer to go any deeper than the first chest. Makes a lot of sense. Although he's headed over to Pod now, I would imagine. Possibly Catfish. It's just Pod is so many items. There are 11 items in Pod in Retro.
Bugnet in the first chest of Hookshot Cave. That's the only thing he can really do at the moment because he still has to get that hookshot. Now, if I was Idiom right now,
Bombos is 100% required. So we will be killing Aga this seed, you guys.
So with that, that only leaves the Fire Rod on the Ped. And that magic bat check only led to GFE getting the bloom boomerang.
No, Walter, go to Pod. What are you doing? Okay, Walter might choose to just go up the mountain here and get a crystal out of Hera. As long as he doesn't go into Thieves Town, I think he's going to be fine for the moment. He's going to Thieves Town. Gosh darn it. Wait, I don't know what he's doing now. He just went around the long way. Okay.
He might be going for the Ped.
Nah, he's going up the mountain. He's gonna get a crystal out of Hera. This is fine. It's
fine, yeah.
It's not the biggest time loss. As long as he gets the hammer before he goes back to Thieves Town. Yeah, Hera is fire locked. Unfortunately, Walter does not know that quite yet. But he won't really be losing any time because the next time he goes to the mountain, he'll likely have the hook shot and be able to go up the east side instead of up the middle. Eddie, I'm doing left side swamp first.
I don't see anything wrong with Eddie going left side swamp first.
No, absolutely not.
And yeah, once he's done with Swamp Palace, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up into Death Mountain next.
Yeah, it really depends on like what he finds up here. Say if he finds the flute, it kind of makes going over to the Mire area look pretty good. And of course the big key on left side swamp, as it is almost every time. And the mushroom. Walter showing us the Ether Tablet. This is our first vision of this item. Silver arrows, not bad.
The unfortunate thing though is that because silver arrows are 50 per shot, they're probably gonna hold off on that until Ganon.
So unfortunately for Walter and GFE, who both made the play for the book, while silvers are nice, they're definitely not worth an entire Eastern Palace clear. And there's still the possibility that like the flute is locked behind going into and finishing desert, because no one's been able to finish the dungeon quite yet. But at this point, it looks like it was mostly just a time loss going into Eastern. There's also the pendants being required possibility. Although that is dwindling slowly.
Well, yeah, but with the ped being only just the fire rod, it's kind of unlikely that we might see an Aga ped scene.
I mean, we can dream. And the fire rod in the back of Swamp Palace.
So with
Goodbye.
That, so I called it. So
Goodbye,
so with that
pedestal.
ped, so that yeah, with that ped's now not required. All we have to do now is just kill Aga, and that's it.
So staying in logic, paying off pretty big for Etium. He's going to have a fire source on his first trip to Hera and be able to finish it in one go.
If I'm not mistaken, though, we're actually in no mode.
Yeah, we are in no mode. The book being our access to desert. But, you know, Eastern Palace being a pendant and a place you really don't want to go, Etium might be a while before Etium actually goes there. So hopefully we'll find the flute somewhere else. Plus, we don't have the lamp yet, right? And the Aga Tower is kind of a big pain without the lamp.
I mean, if you want to do something crazy and say go and try and do Aga Tower without a lamp, my hat's off to you.
It's not so bad with the fire rod. Like the main trouble room is the that big maze that has the second chest in it. But there's torches in that room, and if you just know where to shoot the fire rod, you can light it up pretty simple.
Yeah, so since Etium already has that, he might consider going once he finds out the information that Turtleback is Bombos. You might want to just try to go and say, okay, we're gonna head up into Aga Tower and shoot that fire rod over on the Dark Maze, and we're good to go.
Yeah, so he'll need to find out that Turtle Rock is Bombos, and then also he'll need to find out that Bombos is on Lumberjack. I don't believe anybody has checked that except for GFE. Maybe Goomba did it when he had the boots checks.
Instead, though, Etium is going to turn in that mushroom.
All the rupees there in the C-shaped house.
And just the heart piece on there. He knows that he has a magic. He has a refill ready to go, so he's gonna pick that up.
All right, it looks like Walter's headed over to Pod from here. So he'll get his hammer and be back on track with everybody else. Etium, unfortunately, looks like he's headed into Ice Palace. Now, this could be good if the flute's here, because that would be an alternative way of getting into desert.
Now, with him going into Ice Palace, Goomba might be able to muster up some sort of a lead if he decides to makes it quick and clears Swamp Palace pretty quickly compared to Etium. Although we did see that Edium already has cleared Swamp Palace.
Yeah, Edium finished up Swamp. Yeah, so unfortunately, Goomba's in the same position that Edium's going to be in, right? Where he doesn't have access to Desert yet because they both opted not to do Eastern Palace.
GFE also going to be heading over into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense from his point of view, right? Like it's a crystal dungeon. You can full clear it. Let's make it happen.
Looks like Cape was picked up by Edium.
And since GFE has already gone to Eastern, as soon as he heads to the mountain, he'll find himself in go mode. Sans lamp.
Yeah, but even then, with the Fire Rod being where it is, Aga Tower won't be as rough.
It's also possible that there's like a lamp latent Hera or something, right? And he just finds it while he's up there.
Mm-hmm. That would put Aga into logic.
Hookshot Cave, right? We haven't seen that yet.
We did see the bug net in Hookshot Cave, but not the entirety of Hookshot Cave.
Jen showing some hatred for Darkroom people.
I mean, if you know how to do dark rooms, it's not totally bad.
Yeah, if the lamp's on the mountain, that's true. The flute would have to be available somewhere. But there are some checks, I believe, that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, but...
Wait, are there? Oh yeah, like land though.
Yeah. But either way, since they're about to end up crossing each other, and they're actually already been crossing each other for a good while now, I might as well say that be sure to follow all the runners, including our crew. We have Rel and Tankir and literally Jen for
literally
tracking.
Jen.
Yeah, literally Jen.
Not figuratively Jen. Definitely literally Jen.
Yes.
But absolutely, Professor Ender, you are 100% correct. Tracking is a really thankless job. So guys, show some love for your trackers. They are doing a very difficult job for basically no reward. Go over to their channels and ship them a follow. Same for our runners who have decided to put themselves out there playing this game mode that pretty much no one really likes to play.
No, Retro is one of those unpopular modes where it's quite a mess. Kind of like Zelda 1 Randomizer. Well, pretty much like Zelda 1 entirely. The randomizer is really cool, though.
I'm almost positive that if this was not the mode of today's race, nobody would have played a retro scene today. I like retro though. I think this is a lot of fun. It definitely adds like a deeper wrinkle to the game, right? Trying to manage your money and keys and all that.
Yeah, you typically in any other game mode, money is taken for granted after you get Zora and Pod. But in this game, no, you have to earn your money. You have to make sure you use your money properly. Otherwise, bad things will happen. And there's that lamp.
In Ice Palace?
Yep.
Oh, fun. So that's definitely a helpful item for Etienne to find, although it's not exactly what he was looking for. I'm sure he would have been willing to do the Agate Dark Rooms, although he'll be glad he doesn't have to now.
Yeah, Burner was also picked up from Edium as well in the big chest. So with that brings Depth Mountain into Logic for Edium as well as Aga. And with that once he's done with his checks, that puts him in go mode.
No, he'll still need access to Desert.
Right, but that book in hand, if he finds a flute, either in let's say
Yeah, if he comes across the flute, he'll be in go mode, but he still has to go
yeah.
to Eastern as far as we know.
So Goomba actually pulling the trigger on the Aga play, knowing that since Bombos is required.
Yeah, I think Goomba did the Lumberjack check when he was doing the Booch checks earlier. And already seeing Turtle Rock, he knows that he has to do this and he has to get Bombos. And with the Fire Rod, like I said before, these Dark Rooms are not that bad. See, easy torch right there makes this... this is like the one bad room in all of Aga Tower.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind trying to learn it myself, even if it's a dark room. But most rooms in Aga Tower, most dark rooms in Aga Tower are quite they're not as bad. This room here with the falling pits, might be a little bit tricky, but
yeah, the main thing is like all the dark rooms in Aga Tower, like almost all of them have torches you can just light pretty simply with the Fire Rod. So once you do have the Fire Rod, that's not that scary.
Yeah.
Ether requires the glove, so that is Spike Cave Ether. Did we already know that? I feel like we already knew that.
Yeah. I believe so.
So Etienne, without the boots, going straight to Lumberjack. This is an odd play, honestly. I guess he's just doing it like on the way to the mountain. He finds out Bombos is there, and on the mountain he'll find out that Bombos is required as well. Usually people who didn't do the early Lumberjack check will wait until they actually have the boots to ever bother checking that item. Walter on his way to Helmasaur. You know, from his point of view, it makes a lot of sense for him to do Helmasaur because that whole Eastern dip feels like such a waste. So he might really be banking on Pedestal having something. Unfortunately. Poor Walter. So Etienne's headed up Dark Death Mountain. We'll get to see what's in Hookshot Cave for the very first time. And if it's the flute, Etienne's in a really good spot. GFE, however, is deciding to go straight back to Skull Woods after getting his Fire Rod in Swamp, putting off the mountain just a little bit longer. This isn't too crazy. Like, the mountain's a really dense place to go. Like, there's lots and lots of items there. But if it's empty and you can skip all of it, it is a huge amount of time save.
Yeah, so that play over into Death Mountain makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Walter's going right back up the mountain now that he finally has his hammer, and he will find some progression, but not what he needs right now. It's him getting his 4th sword. Second player to do so.
And no, this is not the 4-star that splits up Link into 4 different links.
Oh, okay. I was confused by that. Etienne also getting knowledge that Bombos he just saw is required. Now he does know he will have to do Aga. Happy to have that lamp.
Oh, definitely.
Nice Master Sword kill there from GFE. Just the compass on the boss, though. And Hookshot Cave was empty. Etienne still needing that access to desert.
So all he really needs to do is to go over into Eastern Palace and he's good to go. Or unless he finds a flute. Well, if they're picking up his boots.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's really unlikely that he's going to be going into Eastern anytime soon because he knows that Aga's required now, so he'll probably do like Aga Tower after Hera, get Bombos, head back to Turtle Rock, which, you know, can have the flute, but it's a lot slower than just going into Eastern and checking that first chest. And unfortunately, the flute might just be in Game and Sour at this point.
GFE actually doing a pet check. We know this is not anything of importance. Yep, that kind of confirms it straight out the bat, but it's just couch cash. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of Walther's gambles just haven't paid off this seed. Like, he did the early Eastern dip and the late pod dip. This is his second time on the mountain, and he's going to have to come back a third for sure. Possibly a fourth, depending on how things play out. Just half magic behind the fire rod in Skullwoods. Not the flute.
Oof.
So at this point in time, it really looks like GFE has a clear advantage. He still hasn't been on the mountain yet, but as soon as he's up there, he'll be finding everything he needs for go mode.
And since Goomba had picked it up before, and now mentioning here, GFE picked up half magic in the big chest. And with that, Goomba now picks up his Bombos, which he needs to get into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, our first player to get the Bombos medallion, but it's going to lead him straight into Turtle Rock. So if the flute's up here, then Goomba's fine. Like, he's gonna be in go mode and be absolutely fine. If the flute's not up here, it's a little rough because he now has to go into Eastern, a place nobody ever wants to go. GFE's still avoiding that mountain going into Ice Palace. It's not crazy. It's a crystal, right?
Yeah, I mean, he will get a lamp. And Walter is actually trying to do a hover, and does not get it.
Probably good. Like, there was nothing in Hookshot Cave anyway.
Yeah, besides, it's good for him to not just to waste time doing that, because it will only be pretty fruitless because there's nothing there.
So Walter finds Ice Rod and the boots up here on the mountain. And he'll get Ether Medallion here out of Spike Cave. But while those are things, he's very happy to have, and he needs the Ice Rod at least.
Fire Rod, you mean?
Not what he's looking for. He needs a fire source, and he needs one bad.
Of course, yeah.
Just go to Crystal Dungeons, Walter. Just go to Crystal Dungeons.
Yeah, so Edium now climbing the tower with his lamp in hand.
So Walter's going to do these boots checks real quick. This will probably lead him into checking Lumberjack, where he'll also find out that Agate is going to be required. And then he doesn't have that many options. Surely he'll be forced to go to Thieves' Town at this point.
We're getting the hint that there's a new guy in Ice Palace. That was that lamp. Walter's gonna find out that Bombos is on top.
Don't save and quit. Walter, go to Thieves' Town. Oh, I think he heard me.
He's heading down to Kakarika right now. Goomba now grabbing his crystal off of Hera.
Yeah, unfortunately no flute for Goomba. But he still has Turtle Rock. A lot of items in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, at this point, Goomba and Edium are kind of neck and neck.
Yeah, they're both in very similar positions, just looking for that access to desert. But GFE already having the access to desert, all he has to do to find Go Mode is go to the mountain, which is the next logical place for him to go after Ice Palace.
Yeah, with Ice Palace being the one dungeon he has to complete before going up into the mountain, that makes a lot of sense for him. This is going off of by the logic, so once he gets that lamp and goes up in the mountain, he will be the first player to get into Go Mode. Now, this might also be where Goomba can find the flute out of Turtle Rock, which leads to logical Go Mode access, or logical Go Mode for him.
Well, illogical, but it's still Go Mode.
Yeah, it's still Go Mode either way. We find out that there is what I call a Sky is Blue hint, where we find out the shovel that was in Blind's hideout. There's GFE's lamp.
Yeah, this whole seed, GFE has been very against sequence breaking. This may just be the way he chooses to normally play the game. It can definitely pay off. Sequence breaks can hurt nearly as much as they can help. Absolutely. As we can see by Walther right now.
Yeah, sequence breaks are a big gamble. Sometimes they might be helpful. Sometimes sometimes they're going to be what cost you the race.
Etienne headed over to Sahasrara instead of going back up the mountain. Oh, I thought he might continue into Eastern, but he left.
Nope. He just leaves the book behind, and solid cold stare fight from GFE.
GFE's going to finish up his boots checks and grab Bombos off Lumberjack. And I imagine he will probably go straight back to the mountain after this and get Hera and Turtle Rock out of the way. Still no info on whether or not the flute is up here.
Of course.
Walther does finally get his hook shot. And he is lock and step with everybody else as soon as he does Swamp. And, goes back to the mountain and does Aga. Otherwise, though, he's got a chance.
It would be a big kick at the teeth, though, is if GFE finds out that the flute's in Desert Palace. I believe that's all the items we got out of Desert Palace, though. But it would have been a nice kick at the teeth, though.
Oh, this is a big play. GFE is going to Desert before back up the mountain, or before up the mountain.
I don't see anything wrong with this.
No, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just
because
a big play. Because if the flute's here, then we know that the book's required.
To be fair, because since all he has left is Turtle Rock and not Misery Mire, Turtle Rock and Tower of Hera, he might want to wait until he clears Aga, and then go up the mountain. With that, he can get all his Dead Mountain checks. He'll get in go mode.
He's really making sure that the boots or the Canis Maria are here in Desert. Because he doesn't have that information that they're both up the mountain.
Yeah, of course. But once he finds it out, we know that if he goes up the mountain afterwards, he will be able to mirror from Turtle Rock and go into Hera, and then he can just mirror back through the portal and into Ganon's tower.
Goomba making his way through yet another dark room. This one, not so bad. It's just a little bit of memorization to get through here.
Yeah, this one I had a little bit of trouble at the time, since I'm not familiar with the routing in terms of the platform here, but it's for Goomba's case. He's done this numerous times. He knows what he's doing. And with that mirror shield in hand, going through Laser Bridge won't be a big problem for him.
Unless he tries to dash skip anyway. Still no flute for Goomba. Trinex, come on, Trinex. I believe in the Trinex flute.
So it's possible that the flute is going to be in Ganon's tower. That's my assumption now.
Yeah, it looks more like that every second.
So at this stage of the game, once he clears Desert Palace, I see GFE in a big lead once he goes up the mountain and clears Aga before that. If he knows that he needs to go there. But since he's never went up the mountain before, I believe he'll get the information right as he is going through the mountain, and he'll make the stop over to Aga, then get the bombs off a Lumberjack, and then that's it.
So no flute on Lanmo 1. Trinex? Trinex? Nope.
It's gonna be up in Ganon's tower.
Are we out of locations? Does it have to be in Ganon's tower?
The flute would have to be in Ganon's tower.
In which case, the book is going to be absolutely required. Goomba and Etienne will both have to make that dive into Eastern. Unfortunately, it doesn't make any sense for them to go into Eastern until they are completely out of Crystal Dungeons to full clear. So we'll probably see Goomba go into Ice Palace next. Oh, he's going back into Turtle Rock. Was there something else here?
There's two other chests.
Oh, he was skipping the two chests on the right side. Okay, maybe Flute here.
If that's the case, then he's in go mode. If not, then it's likely in Ganon's Tower, and he needs to get that book out of Eastern Palace.
Key and rupees. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be in Ganon's Tower no matter what.
Okay, so I really don't see Goomba doing anything else here other than going straight to Ice Palace.
So Goomba actually going back into Hookshot Cave. This will be a time loss for him since we know there's nothing here.
Well, Pyramid Fairy is a item location that we haven't seen yet. To answer your chat real quick, unfortunately, Desert is one of those red crystals. So if the flute was in Pyramid Fairy, the book would still be required.
Yeah. So yeah, the flute can't be on Pyramid Fairy as a result. But GFE actually now going to pull the trigger on the Death Mountain play.
Finally.
Now again, he does not know that Bombos is required on Turtle Rock, so he will have to make a pit stop over at Aga Tower and then Lumberjack. Aside from that, though, he's pretty much going to be in go mode after that.
From GFE's point of view, he's an Ice Rod and the boots and the cane and possibly Medallion away from go mode. But he's about to find out that all of those things are right here on Death Mountain. And Goomba, like I was mentioning before, is going straight to Ice Palace. This is the only play that really makes sense from his point of view. Unfortunately, not going to find Fluter Book here.
No, the only thing he'll be finding is that lamp.
But he already did all the dark rooms.
Yeah, that's the problem. Here, that lamp is going to be pretty much useless because he had sequence broke all of those dark rooms. So there's that fire rod for Walter.
Yeah, Walter's making good time on catching back up, but he's got a ways to go, unfortunately.
Of course, yeah, because he neglected to go over into all the other crystal dungeons. Now that he's going into Swamp Palace, he needs to catch up really quick.
If he can avoid going into Ice Palace, which he might do, he's actually not in that bad a spot. He's only just behind GFE here.
So GFE going into Hera first isn't a bad idea, all things considered, since he doesn't know that Bombos is required for Turtle Rock and resulting in Aga. He can just stop here, clear it, and then for pretty much no cost, he can still go out and for no cost, he could still just go up, clear Turtle Rock, go mode pretty much, and then go up the tower.
Alright, Walter, just don't go to Ice. Desert's fine, just don't go to Ice. Or actually... Oh, Walter's in go mode.
Yeah, at this point, he's technically in Goomba, but
Yeah, I
even
just
then...
realized that. He is in go mode. He still has to do Agatower and get the Bombos medallion, but he knows it's there and he knows it's required.
Yeah, but at this point in the game, he still needs a lot of catching up to do, so... I still put GFE in a big advantage here, since clearing Hera won't be any trouble for him. Once he finds out the information that Turtle Rock's required, well, Bombos is required, you can just go up Mega Tower, get Lumberjack, and pretty much clear from there.
It's actually kind of interesting that Walter's the first person in go mode. He's been so far behind the whole race. And then just, oh look, go mode. Out of nowhere. But all those extra trips up the mountain really coming back to bite Walter, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Third. This is still a pretty close race, you guys, because as soon as Goomba's done in Ice Palace, he doesn't have that many other places to go. Eastern's looking pretty good at that point, and that'll be his own go mode.
Yeah, GFE entering the Moldorm fight using those hammer strats. Gonna end up with a spin to wrap it up. There's that burnout for Goomba.
There is the possibility that Walter doesn't realize he's in go mode. It may not feel like it, or he may just not be willing to do the dark room into through Agate Tower.
Right.
Okay, go north. Go north. North, I say. Oh my god, Walter. Why you do this? Maybe he'll pick up the lamp on the way. As long as he go modes the dungeon, it's fine. The lamp was in Freezor chest, I think, which is a chest that you might do even if you're in
Yeah. Makes me... It's curious why he decided to save and quit and then go back into Ice Palace.
Well, he has to go into Ice Palace either way, and there's easy chests to pick up that might have the lamp to make Agate Tower beater a little easier on the way.
Right, but even then, I believe that's still a time loss since he either that or he's it's still a time loss for him. So
why?
In the sense that he stayed to quit and he's got some extra. He had to do some extra time to get back into Ice Palace, and instead of just going back up into Ice Palace himself.
From where? He was in desert. What are you talking about?
Oh wait. Oh, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, he was in desert. The fastest way to get to Ice Palace for him was to save and quit.
Oh, that okay. That's
yeah. It can be a little confusing watching all four runners at once. Absolutely.
My brain
I've made my own fair share of mistakes.
I can watch four runners just fine. My brain just shut down.
All right, GFE finds his Ice Rod, which is his go mode. He still has to go back and get the Bombos medallion, but he has all the information he needs now.
Yeah, since he'll find out that Bombos is on Turtle Rock, this is essentially a go mode for GFE, and he's got a pretty big lead to back it up too. Now, unfortunately for Goomba, he's going to be doing some extra checks in pursuit of that book.
Yeah, Eastern looks good. It doesn't look great. Oh, Walter taking a death in Ice Palace. That's not good.
Yeah, he was trying to set up for that bomb jump and couldn't do it, so...
There was a chance GFA wouldn't pick up all these extra swords on the mountain if he had like entered the Dark World over here from Turtle Rock, because just knowing that Bombos is required is his go mode item. Luckily, he did all those checks first, finds out it's Bombos, and says, "Oh, I know where that is."
Yeah, the good news for GFE is that since he knows where it is,
instinctively mirroring over to the Light World. Unnecessary, but you know.
yeah, he thought he cleared Aga, but no, he has not. So. Oh, he did clear the bomb shop. Okay. Again, since he's pretty much knows where he is now, this is pretty much a go mode for GFE.
Yeah, imagine right now, GFE is really feeling kind of good. Maybe he'll feel a little behind because of how much pull clearing he did before he got like the boots. But you know, from our point of view, knowing what the other runners have done, GFE is looking pretty good for taking first place here. Unless Goomba goes to Ice Palace, or not Eastern, right?
Eastern, yeah. Goomba is actually making the way over to Eastern right now. So at this point in the game, GFE and Goomba are pretty much neck and neck. However, Goomba might actually have the advantage here in the sense
Goomba
that since Eastern Palace is right, he's still looking for that book.
Yeah, Goomba's gonna find the book in like
now.
the first chest, and then he just has to do Desert, where GFE has to finish all of Aga Tower, and then Turtle Rock, which is a much longer dungeon. So it does look like Goomba took the lead here with this play into Eastern.
Yeah, at this point he's in the lead because Desert Palace is ridiculously easy to clear. It's the shortest one of the shorter dungeons to clear. Pretty much all Light World dungeons are easy to clear. There are some exceptions to that though, like the
Alright, Walther takes down Cold Stare. Unfortunately, Walther does have quite a bit left to do. He still needs to go back to Skullwoods, Hera, and Aga Tower. Get Bombos Man, and then finish up in Turtle Rock.
Edium on the Trinex fight, however. Now, since he's still looking for that book, he still needs to go over to Eastern Palace. But even then, Goomba will still have the lead here as he's going over to Desert Palace right now. Going to be using that book, clearing Desert Palace, going to the Gans Tower, and that's game, set, match.
So Walther did end up skipping the lamp in Ice Palace. He doesn't need it, right? He can always do the Dark Crimson Aga Tower, but he was really hoping to find the lamp on his way.
Yeah, he had a lot of trouble in Ice Palace, man, with the bomb jump, as someone had pointed out, where he did clear it, but he died shortly afterwards, which is quite a pain, so... Yeah, it's pretty much in the lead, so...
So Edium's making the play. He's headed over to Pod and Eastern. He hadn't finished Pod before, but he has already been in there and did most of the checks. So I imagine he will end up doing Eastern first. He's just coming through the Dark World so that he has the option of going back into Pod as well.
Now, the one thing GFE has over Goomba, as far as I'm aware, is those silver arrows.
Yeah, unfortunately, the silvers don't really make up that much time.
Yeah, with the silver arrows in the position that he is in at the moment, with Goomba clearing Desert Palace, it's not gonna it's not gonna matter. because he'll do Silverless Ganon, and with Silverless Ganon on Gold Sword, this is going to be pretty much not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's just 4 arrow shots instead of 12 spins. But you know, if you're doing triples, it's like not that many cycles. Maybe like 30 seconds difference on the Ganon fight.
Yeah, and with that really easy Lamolas fight, that's 7 crystals.
Yep,
And,
Goomba has all 7 crystals and will be making his way up to Ganon's tower.
All right. So you know what's up. 22 locations inside Ganon's tower. The first part of it. It could be one of them has the big key. If there's all sorts of locations for that. Render room, dark magician room, the compass chest. If you're masochistic enough, even the tile room. But it's gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing I've always done before, ever since I started commentating. Render room, exact location 11, assuming that they go hope room first, then left. Although I don't mind 11 too, so.
Goomba has enough of a lead at this point that it really doesn't matter where the big key is going to be. Even if he has to full clear the basement and GFE gets it in the first chest, Goomba's still going to be decently ahead.
Of course, yeah. Goomba has a pretty big lead, all things considered, because again, with the advantage of Goomba having already cleared Turtle Rock, and GFE having to go through all that situation. Go all through that check, going to find out where Turtle Rock is, and then going over to Aga Tower, and then, of course, grabbing the bombos, and then also still clearing Turtle Rock. But even then, also something to consider too, since Edium is still a book away, he will have some crystals, but
Edium got his book. He's in the desert now. He just has
yeah.
He'll also be going up to Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it's not lit up on the tracker, but
yeah, it's a lot closer between Edium and Goomba at this point, but it's still like a pretty big difference.
Yeah, of course.
We have a Lambo fight, and then he also has to climb the mountain. But you know, like I think Ganon's tower big key routing, like at its worst, could make up like 5 minutes. So that could definitely be a difference maker between them two.
Yeah, first 2 locations are going to be just some keys, but the thing is though, since he has enough keys to deal with the rest of the game, well, pretty much, he won't have to worry about going up the tower and going through the rest of the just going for the rest of the tower. I don't know what I'm saying afterwards.
It's okay, Renderer.
Breathe.
I know what you're talking about. I gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're following Goomba through Ganon's tower. Compass room coming up empty. I believe he started in Hope room. Yeah, so he's doing the hybrid route here, going over to full left after Compass room there.
Yeah, right. This is pretty much full right first and left. Seven is 20 rupees. Coming up is 8, 9, 10, and 11. 8 is a compass. 9 is 300 rupees. 10 is another key. And 11 is 20 rupees.
So the worst place for the big key to be, given Goomba's routing, is like behind Ice Armos. And the route to take through Ganon's tower to get to Ice Armos the fastest is to go full right. And no one goes full right. So Goomba's actually in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah, of course. 12 was bombs, by the way. Kind of is number 13. You're coming out in the Fire Snake room. And lo and behold, there's that big key.
Big key in Fire Snakes. Goomba kicking himself a little for dipping into Compass Room, but he still finds it pretty quick.
Yeah, and the first one to guess right on the nose is none other than Mr. Scrap into Tuna. Another one person can set it to, and I'm also going to mention it too, is Cursing Cupcakes.
Eddie now entering the tower just as Goomba enters the gauntlet. Edium's starting in Hope Room as well. If he decides to skip Compass Room, that does put a little bit of time. Cuts a little bit of time off of Goomba's lead here. And he's going to go Compass Room. Darn it! Why does everybody do this play? I hate this play.
I mean, it makes sense. If anything, Edium will... I mean, first, Edium won't make up any time doing this, but... it makes sense, so.
No, yeah, like there's nobody has any idea where the big key in Gaines Tower is. There's no reason any one route is better than another. As long as you're not just skipping chess, like you're gonna get to the big key on average about the same every time.
Right. Goomba now entering the gauntlet.
Walter takes down Aga 1. He's going to get his Bombos Medallion and will be just 2 crystals away. I think he already did Skullwoods, although it's not reflected on the tracker. Oh, we got Goombazadio. And we can hear those really sexy butter swipes.
I mean, to be fair, everyone else has sexy butter swipes, so not like
yeah, but Goombas sound better because he's in the gauntlet.
Right, of course, yeah. But Goomba makes quick work of Lambo 2, exits the gauntlet. However, the most satisfying room in the game. Coming up is even more satisfying.
Alright,
yeah,
GFE
learning that room.
Taken down Trinex, gets his 7th crystal, and he is headed into Gaines Tower as well.
Not before going into
he's doing Hookshot Cave for some reason.
yeah, not before going into Hookshot Cave. Not sure why he's doing this, but well.
Essentially, there's no reason to do this.
Yeah.
Like he has Butter Sword, he has Red Mail. Even has the Mirror Shield if he has a really hard time with mimics.
If he actually doesn't have any keys.
Oh, keys! He needs keys! I think at this point you just go into Gaines Tower and hope to find some keys, right?
No, he's actually leaving. He's got to find keys. Oh boy, that's gonna hurt for GFE.
I would have gone into Gaines Tower. I don't know if it would have paid off. I wasn't paying that much attention, but I would have done it.
I didn't even pay attention to his key count. Yikes. Edium now enters. He's got his big key, so he's climbing up the tower.
Did he check the shop that was over here? There is a shop in Light and Dark Death Mountain. One of those might have had keys for him.
I believe he... Goomba getting a map out of the treasure. It's a treasure map! X marks the spot? I don't know. Anyway, Goomba enters Aga 2.
Alright, GFE doesn't find any keys, so it looks like he's just gonna go in again, Sour, and hope for the best.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, I believe there wasn't enough keys to suffice.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a key pod, but...
He needs 1 key to open the fires. He'll need 1 key to open the double firebar room, although he could skip that, and then he'll need 1 key to go up the gauntlet. So I guess he just needs 1 key if he skips double firebar. He'll probably find a key. I think there was a key in Stalfos room. Alright, no keys in the Hope room for GFE. It's unfortunate. This is one of those wrinkles of retro that can be really easy to forget about if you don't play a lot. Goomba's onto his Ganon fight. This is going to be a pretty quick fight. Just 6 swipes in each of the first 2 phases, 4 in the third, and 12 spins in the 4th phase. Alright, GFE did find a key. As long as he doesn't open the double firebar room, he'll be fine. Oh, we found a second key. Alright, he's good to go, you guys. He's gonna be fine. Unless he mirrors and go to Compass Room. Why would you do that? Gosh darn it. Why would you do that? Of course, he's doing it because he doesn't know where the big key is like I do. It's not his fault. I'm sorry, GFE. You're a smart person.
Goomba gets Torch Glitch, so for the rest of the Soloist Ganon, this won't be a big problem.
Oh yeah, with half magic and the fire rod, he's gonna go for triples every single time.
It's one of them. There's another triple. That is game, set, and match for Goomba.
Goomba takes down the Big Pig and is the first of our Restream runners to finish the seed. GG's to Goomba. Get those GG's in chat, you guys. I don't see nearly enough GG's in chat. Pick it up. Okay, that's better.
And Goomba has finished in second place with a time of 1:52.10. And our first place winner is Shire of 1:47.14.
Goomba actually tied with Hitsuyan for second place. That's awesome.
Great, yeah, but that's a tie with him. But aside from that, though, we actually do have a slight announcement. We have Shire actually did finish. He did have a PB by just a mere 33 seconds for the retro mode.
I'm thinking Shire doesn't play retro all that much.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Alright, GFE has found his big key and is now making his way up the gauntlet. Again, I freaked out a little bit earlier. It wasn't crazy for him to go to Compass Room. It was a little crazy, but not that crazy.
Oh, Goomba just slips by me without a hitch. I did not see you, Goomba.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the voice chat, Goomba. GG's. Congratulations on being the first of our Restream runners to finish the seed.
GG.
So, kind of sucked, right?
I mean, that book was pretty dumb. Like, there was no way I was going into Eastern Palace after finding the hammer in the mod. There was no way.
Absolutely. It's funny though, GFE did go into Eastern after finding the hammer, and then Walther had gone into Eastern before even finding the mids.
I suspect the reason I placed as well as I did, despite literally last locationing my go mode, is because of the hookshot. Because if you do Thieves Town without the hammer, and you leave that hookshot there, that is a recipe for total disaster. Like, you might go into Swamp without the hookshot, you might go into Turtle Rock without the fire rod, all kinds of garbage. You'll probably like full clear Desert Palace, check tablets, all that stuff.
Unfortunately, none of the Restream runners actually made the call to go to the back of Thieves Town. Because if you remember at the time, not only did you not have the hammer, but you had no way to kill blind.
Yeah.
So it was a really easy call for everyone to make not to continue in the dungeon.
Yeah. That's right. The take any cave with the sword was the archery game, so by that point it was too late.
Yeah, kind of surprising actually to me that everybody did end up finding that take any cave. It's a really common routing decision in retro to just assume that you don't need the sword from the take any cave, because it does
I don't
save
play
a lot of
retro,
time.
so like I
Yeah.
just wanted the sword.
It saves a lot of time if you can just not enter any of the single entrance caves. But
Yeah.
because the sword is in logic, you're also risking that you're gonna have to go back and get the sword eventually.
Yeah. I mean, you get those edge cases where you need to take any sword for Aghanim or something stupid.
Yeah,
But
they're few and far between though.
yeah. I mean, this was literally my second time playing retro, I think. I don't play this mode at all.
Yeah, I imagine most of the people in the race are in that same boat. Retro
Yeah.
not being a very popular mode.
Yeah, retro is
Kinda fun,
one of
though.
those modes where it's like, yeah, it's Zelda. I don't want any Zelda 1 mechanics in my ALTTPR experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind this too much. I think it was kind of fun.
And Etium takes down the Big Pig as well, being the second of our restream runners to finish. GG's to him, guys.
And he has finished in 4th place with a time of 1:56.26 officially.
I think retro is really cool, honestly. Like I've played quite a few retro seeds, and it like there's some annoying things about it. Take any caves are really big, dear God, why kind of things. But you know, on the whole, I think it's fun having like that extra wrinkle in the game, having to manage your money and your keys and all that.
Yeah. I don't mind to take any caves too much, because, like, I'm a big entrance player. I'm used to just walking in random doors all over the place, you know?
Yeah,
But,
mindlessly bashing your head against entrances, like Idiom here.
but the big thing I'm not a fan of is the whole rupee arrows thing. Not a big fan of that mechanic. Didn't really come into play much this seed, but
It almost never does, honestly. Like it's mostly just like a cute thing the seed does.
I mean,
Every now and then I get a seed where like, okay, why do I not have enough money to kill Armos?
yeah.
But usually it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the bigger problem in. Like, I remember in the fall tournament with all the crazy modes, there were like expert swordless retro seeds going on, and people had to like grind money to have arrows to be able to do anything.
Inverted retro is also a real big
Oh,
one.
jeez.
Like if you have to go into like
Oh.
pod really early.
yeah.
But at least you have access to the archer game if you do need to farm.
Unless you get to take any cave to your
Right.
kind of host.
But anyway, GFE, while we're waiting for Idiom to get ready, GFE drops into the Ganon fight. As Walter is going to be doing the Hera mirror play.
Yeah, he's got to pick up his last crystal here, and then he'll be into Ganon's Tower as well. Welcome, Edium, to the voice chat. GG's.
Hey, GG's.
Hey.
So, do you like retro more or less after this?
This one wasn't too bad. I had like 1,700 rupees by the end of it.
Right?
Anytime I guess if you don't have to kill Armos and you don't have to kill Vitreous, you end up saving up a lot of money.
Yeah. I also never even had the option of firing silver arrows because I never found them. I assume they were on Ether Tablet.
Yeah, Ether Tablet was the answer.
Yeah, I figured.
So
Yeah,
Walter and GFP ended up finding those because they both cleared Eastern before going up Mountain the first time.
Yeah, I missed the silvers as well. Yeah, I put off the mountain for a long time. I pretty much stuck to logic, so I didn't go up the mountain until I found the lamp.
Yeah, I went up the mountain pretty much immediately after I found the hammer, and at that point I was just kind of assuming the lamp was an ice palace or something stupid like that.
Well, I didn't have the ice rod. Well, okay, the fire rod, which I got that at a swamp, but at that point I was like, I could go up the mountain now, but I'll just do ice first, and then I got the lamp, so that made it even better.
Yeah,
I-
I thought. At first, I thought the lamp would be in swamp, but then I got the fire rod in swamp, and I was like, okay, never mind. I guess it's probably just in Ice Palace then.
If I may update with you, GFE has finished the race, third in the restream overall, and in 5th place with a time of 2 hours flat.
That's always fun.
I got 1:59:59.
I'm in the official the SRL chat. It's official time of 2 hours flat.
Well, it's 1:59:59 on the website, so I don't know.
That's weird.
Isn't it,
IRC
though?
is a mystery.
It's official times are usually on the SRL.
So what were the big trolls in this one? Because I
Hook shot.
felt like I kind of hookshot. Yeah.
Yeah, the
I-
hook shot.
You do Thief Stone about the hammer, you get pretty hosed by the hook shot.
Yeah, the hook shot had
I,
a huge potential.
I didn't have any weapon when I went to
Yeah.
Thief's Down the first time, so I just did the front and
Yeah.
came back pretty much as soon as I got the hammer.
The book was the big one for most people.
Yeah, I mean, I literally last location in the book.
Yeah, I had Eastern and I had Helmasaur left.
I just killed Helmasaur the first time around. I wasn't dealing with his nonsense.
Hey, I did those things.
Whoa! It's GFE!
Well, welcome, GFE. GG, see you as well.
Oh, thanks. So I have to ask, was I the first one to hammer?
I have no idea. Probably.
I want to say yes.
Yeah. Elmasaur on purpose, but was a crystal. So yeah, I was not
It was Eddie M.
gonna touch Eastern if I hadn't thought that.
It was actually Eddie M, not you, GFE.
I was not leaving 2 items behind in pod. It is such garbage to come back to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only person on the restream who really kind of got trolled by the hammer was Walther, who's going up the gauntlet shortly. He did Eastern like before Dark World access, which none of you had done. So he took the book and went into desert without a fire source, and then ended up going up the mountain without the hammer, and then went to the mountain again with the hammer, and then went up the mountain again with the hook shot. It was really unfortunate for him.
Yeah,
The rest
I'm
of you
pretty surprised
routed
actually.
pretty well.
I almost
um,
got to do the dream of only climbing the mountain one time.
Almost, yeah.
Well, it was
Yeah,
impossible.
I figured that Bombos would come into play.
Yeah, it was impossible to only climb the mountain once, unfortunately. But it was almost possible.
If I had, yeah, if it weren't for Aga, I would have done
yeah,
it.
because you needed
Yeah,
the
you would have
boots
had
as
to-
well to get bombos to get into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, you'd have to make that. That's a pretty big gamble. I can't imagine anybody doing that. Getting bombos before knowing that it's required.
Yeah. Yeah, I was honestly kind of surprised when it was the book. I was like, given that I was literally completely out of spots and nobody was done yet, I figured it would be the flute in Eastern Palace and people had gotten it early and like cleared Mire or some garbage like that. So I was kind of surprised when it was the book.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the
what-
flute had to be in GT at this point.
I checked everything outside GT unless it was deeper in Eastern Palace. So, yeah.
It was not deeper in Eastern, I can confirm that.
I'm surprised. I guess everyone got the gold sword because I didn't even I wasn't even thinking about taking any game when I went into the archery game. I was just like, I want to grind a couple rupees here. Oh, yeah, sword.
Yes, same. I just wanted some cash. I was kind of sad when it was a take any cave, but then I was less sad when it was the sword.
Yeah, it's kind of rude that the Take Any Caves can replace locations that don't have items but still have value, like the archery game.
Yeah.
It can also replace the hint tile in like the dev cave, over by
really?
Dark Ice Rod.
That's
I've
kinda funny.
seen that before. Like I go over there thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna get the boots hit because that's all I need for go mode, and oh, it's a sword.
That's pretty rude. Yeah, this is, I
My
think,
GT routing was a mess.
Yeah, I think everybody went compass room.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming in with a small key, I don't really see any reason not to just do hope from compass room.
Well, I
Personally.
came in with no keys, so
I
Did
came
you
in with like
check the
5.
shops, GFE, on the mountain?
there's only the.
There's two.
I
One in
didn't check the
World,
Dark
in
World
Light
one. I checked the Light World, but I forgot to check the Dark World.
Yeah, I only checked
that-
the
Was
They
the
carry
Dark
a
World
shop in
one
both
a
worlds.
key shop?
I checked
Nobody checked it.
couple like in Kakariko and just a few other random ones, but I didn't go far out of my way to check them.
Yeah, I only checked the one in CAC and the two at Lake Highway and both Light and Dark World.
The Dark Witch Hut were two of the key shops. I don't know where the third was.
Dark World Lake Highway was a key shop.
Okay, I never checked that. So that means that the other one on the mountain wouldn't have been one anyway. Pretty sure there's only 3.
Yeah, I checked that one.
There
on
was
the way.
one at the Dark World potion shop, which I checked on
Yeah,
the way to Catfish. Yeah, I think this is like my 3rd retro seed ever, something like that. I haven't played very much of this.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm a little salty about not getting the sub 2.
I'm a little salty about that book. Another really stupid spot.
I actually had it very early, and because I thought Eastern was a crystal, until fairly late.
You actually have sub 2 on the website, GFE.
Oh, in IRC it said 2
Yeah,
even.
Yeah, Render said it was 2 even on the IRC, but like I'm looking at the race on the website, and you're at 159 or 159.59. So I think it might be a thing where like one round's up and the other round's down.
Yeah,
I'll
it might be
take
just a desync between SRLs, between the IRC and the website. I don't know. Because I have 2 hours flat.
I will take that.
You're sub 2 in my heart.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting the Triforce text to be you just wasted 2 hours of your life.
That would have been perfect.
See, Walter's using Bugnat strats.
Yeah, I think he knows he's behind, so he's just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for Walter, a lot of his early game gambles just weren't paying off. The hammer and pod was pretty trolly.
Yeah, I felt real good after finding that until I finished killing Armos and a pendant dropped.
Walter's routing did result in him being the only person to get to go mode Ice Palace.
Oh,
So
I
he's
really
gonna
wanted
blame
to.
this.
I was pretty
Did
sure the only thing in
anyone-
ice would be the lamp, but no. I had to do it anyway.
did anyone get trolled by the hook shot?
Not on the restream.
It had
Oh.
some serious potential, though.
Yeah, like we were talking about
Oh
before.
yeah, definitely.
It would have been a really gambly call to go deeper into Thieves Town when all of you went in there, because nobody had access to blind at that point. No ability to kill him.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I single dipped every dungeon. I don't think I double dipped any. Oh, except Skullwoods. Skullwoods.
Skullwoods doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
I agree.
Thieves Town doesn't. Like, Thieves Town front doesn't really count either.
I single dipped Thieves Town.
I double dipped Hera, I guess, because I didn't have a fire source the first time I went up the mountain.
I skipped Skullwoods the first time in Dark World because I forgot that there's 5 items in there instead of 2. Otherwise, I would have went in, and then I got the mirror, I was like, oh, wish I had this earlier.
I had cleared everything available except Zora before I went to the mountain.
Walter just got a triple, it looks like.
And yep, he's the final one to finish in the restream, and 7th place with a time of 2:10:20 officially.
GG's to Walter. Well, I hope nobody's soured on Retro, because I do think Retro is a pretty nice change of pace from just playing normal open and standards all the time.
I had fun, honestly.
I thought this seed was fun.
Welcome, Walter.
Walter's here, and we'll see if he likes Retro or not.
Yo, what's up? You know,
Jeez.
sometimes you have good days, and sometimes you have these days.
Yeah.
Do you want to know where the lamp is?
Oh, where is it?
Ice Palace freezer chest.
Yeah.
You were the only
didn't care
person
much
to get
about
to
the
go
lamp.
mode it.
Yeah.
Although I
I
want to
was in
say,
go mode for 40 minutes.
I think it was Goomba, right, who ended up doing all the dark rooms as well, finding the lamp after the fact.
Yeah. I was pretty sure the book or the float would just be in Turtle Rock, so I was just like, the lamp's an Ice Palace, whatever, let's just do Dark Gaga, get my bomb bells, go do Turtle Rock, easy. Then I was
Turtle Rock was 100% empty. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I got to. Well, I mostly go moded Turtle Rock. I did check Laser Bridge for small keys, but
I go moded Desert Palace, I guess. Does that count?
No, it doesn't.
I didn't think so.
I was probably the only person to go to Death Mountain in Logic.
No, I did as well.
Oh, cool.
I just went as soon as I got the hammer, because I had that unique item hint for Spiral Cave and I wanted my boots.
Of course,
I
going
should've
to Death
followed
Mountain
up
in
that
Logic,
hint.
it just means that you spent that much longer without the boots, right?
It felt bad. I should have followed that hint up earlier. But at that point, it could have been so many things.
Yeah, but generally, if I get a unique item hint for some random spot, I tend to just assume it's the boots.
Well, it
Yeah.
usually is, right?
I mean, yeah,
No,
that's what
I felt like Spiral Cave was probably the boots, but I wanted a fire source before I went up the mountain.
Yeah, I kind of did too, but I also wanted my boots, so kind of a catch-22.
Yeah. Well, if anyone else, I guess we'll ask about this one final question. Any final thoughts on the entire state as a whole?
Screw Eastern Palace. I don't like Eastern Palace. It's dumb.
Man after my heart.
I'm surprised I did as well as I did. I didn't feel like my routing worked all that well, but I guess it did.
Yeah.
It's okay. No one's good at retro.
Yeah.
At least I got to take my entrance skills and successfully walk into random doors like a dumbass.
Anyway, so that's gonna do it for this seed. Coming up down the pipeline for today. Oh, right. Alright. I think we're good now. Coming up at 9 o'clock for in terms of ALTTPR, we have a standard race. So if you want to tune into that, it's on SG3, on SG2 coming up just at the top of the hour at 5 p.m. We have a Ocarina of Time randomizer. It's a glitched tournament. And at 8 o'clock we have a Kirby race with Nightmare and Dreamland, as well as the New Super Mario Bros. DS tournament. And then also around 9 o'clock, we have the SMC3 Randomizer Community Race, which is a hard mode, along with more New Super Mario Bros. This time Wii. And if you want to check those out, it's SGs 1 through 3, but all the other channels are still there for SG4, SG5, and SG6. There's also ones for different languages like German, Portuguese, Dutch. Wait, that's Dutch. It's German, and French, and the like. And yeah, as far as us is concerned, that's gonna do it for us, though. I'd like to thank all the runners for doing an excellent job at racing this quite unpopular
Look at the
mode.
collections.
Yeah.
Walter, what happened?
Oh.
Everything happened.
Your collection is 20 lower than Edium's.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made by me. I just
Yeah, all those climbs
I
up the
couldn't
mountain
play
really
today.
hurt.
Yeah.
yeah, and apparently you
Aside
need
from
a big key for Touch Rock.
What?
Oh boy.
Uh,
Anyway.
Right, like Professor Render was saying, make sure you give these runners a follow, you guys. They have done a great job entertaining us all for basically no reward, except now you know their names. So use the !R command, get those streams, go to their channels, click the follow button, and also don't forget the commentary and trackers too, please. Hi, that's us.
Yep, literally Jen and Ron 10 Cure for doing the tracking, clicking all those buttons is not easy. I've done it before. It is quite an. Of course, got the one and only Koi. He does nightly radio streams. So if you want to check him out, it's Koi_stream. You can also join me in there. I do all sorts of random stuff. I haven't done a lot of randomizer in the past couple of weeks, but I might want to drop by sometime, maybe do some other things. But with that, that's gonna do it for me.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you later, Twitch chat. GG's to all the runners. Bye.
See ya.